Hey, I'm Mike. Right now, 91.5 million people in the US alone are using Buy Now, Pay Later. That little split into 4 payments button that shows up at checkout, and 47% of them admit they paid late in the past year. That's not a rounding error. That's nearly half. If you've ever clicked that button because it felt easier than pulling out your actual card, this video is genuinely for you, because the way this system works is quietly different from what it looks like on the surface, and almost nobody explains the actual mechanics before you're already 3 purchases deep. Here's the problem in one sentence. BNPL was designed to feel like nothing, and that's exactly why it's dangerous. It's not marketed as debt, it's marketed as convenience. 4 easy payments, no interest, usually, approved in seconds, often with barely any credit check at all. That framing works. By 2026, half of all US adults have used a BNPL service at least once, and BNPL now increases checkout conversion by 20 to 30%, specifically because it removes the mental friction of seeing one large number at checkout. But here's what that friction was actually doing for you before it disappeared. When a purchase feels expensive all at once, your brain naturally asks, do I actually need this? BNPL doesn't answer that question. It just removes it from the conversation entirely. And the data shows exactly what happens next. 60% of BNPL users are running multiple loans at the same time. Not one small $40 split payment. Several, stacked across different apps, often for different retailers, each one individually looking harmless. Here's the core issue, the part that actually explains why this trap works so well. BNPL was built to feel completely disconnected from your credit score and your real financial picture, and until very recently, it genuinely was. For years, most BNPL loans simply weren't reported to credit bureaus at all. On-time payments didn't help you build credit. Late payments usually didn't hurt you either. That invisibility is a huge part of why this grew so fast. It felt lower stakes than a credit card because on paper, in the one place people usually check, it barely existed. That's no longer fully true. Starting in late 2025, major providers began reporting BNPL loans to credit bureaus, and FICO has now built BNPL activity directly into its scoring model. If you've been treating these apps as credit light because they never showed up on your report, that assumption quietly stopped being safe. A late payment on a BNPL loan can now hurt your score the same way a missed credit card payment does. And here's the part that makes this genuinely different from a credit card in a way that actually makes it riskier, not safer. A credit card gives you one number to watch. One statement, one balance, one due date. BNPL splits your spending across 3, 4, sometimes 5 separate apps, each with its own due date, each invisible to the others. There's no single dashboard showing you the total. Financial researchers have started calling this phantom debt. Money you owe that doesn't show up anywhere as one clear number because it's scattered across multiple small, individually unremarkable-looking commitments. You can genuinely lose track of how much you actually owe, not because you're careless, but because the system was never designed to show you the full picture in one place. There's also a regulatory shift worth understanding because it tells you how seriously financial authorities are starting to take this. New rules taking effect through 2026 are bringing BNPL under the same kind of oversight traditionally reserved for actual lenders. Stricter requirements around checking whether someone can genuinely afford a loan before approving it. Clearer disclosures about what's actually being agreed to, and formal consumer protections that didn't exist when this industry was still new and largely unregulated. Central bank researchers have already flagged the sheer scale of this as something worth monitoring closely. US BNPL transaction volume alone has grown roughly 20% a year since 2021. That's not a small niche payment method anymore. That's a rapidly maturing part of the financial system, just one that most users are still treating with the caution level of a store loyalty card. So here's what actually protects you without requiring you to swear off BNPL entirely, because for some people, used carefully, it's genuinely a useful tool. Let's make this concrete with real numbers first. Because abstract warnings don't stick the way actual dollar amounts do. Picture someone using 3 different BNPL apps across a single month. A $200 purchase split 4 ways on one app, a $150 purchase split 4 ways on another, and a $300 purchase split into 4 payments on a third. Individually, each one looks completely manageable. $50 here, $37 there, $75 somewhere else. But add up every payment due in that same 2-week window across all 3 apps, and that person owes $162 at once, from 3 purchases that each felt small enough to not think twice about. Multiply that pattern across a few months of normal shopping, and it's easy to see exactly how 60% of users end up juggling multiple loans without ever consciously deciding to take on that much simultaneous debt. First, treat every BNPL purchase as real debt the moment you click confirm, not a future problem. Before you tap that button, ask the exact same question you'd ask before swiping a credit card. Can I pay the full amount today, right now, without this split? If the honest answer is no, that's the system telling you something important, even though nothing on the screen is telling you that directly. Second, never run more than one BNPL loan at a time. If 60% of users are stacking multiple loans, that's not a personal failing. That's the predictable result of a system with no built-in visibility. You have to build that visibility yourself. Before opening a new one, check whether a previous one is still active anywhere. Third, write down every active BNPL commitment in one single place the moment you open it: the app, the amount, and the due date. This sounds almost too simple to matter, but it directly solves the phantom debt problem because it recreates the one thing these apps deliberately don't give you: a single, complete view of what you actually owe. Fourth, set a payment reminder for 2 or 3 days before each due date, not on the day itself. Late payments now genuinely affect your credit, and the gap between on time and 3 days late is the difference between this tool staying harmless and it starting to actively work against you. And fifth, maybe the most important one, if you notice you're using BNPL specifically because your regular budget can't currently absorb the purchase, that's the actual signal to stop, not to find a 5th app to split the payment even further. BNPL should smooth out a purchase you can already genuinely afford. The moment it becomes the only reason you can afford something at all, it stopped being a convenience and started being the exact debt it never looked like on the screen. One last thing worth mentioning, because it's easy to overlook. Checking whether a BNPL provider actually reports to credit bureaus now takes about 2 minutes of searching, and it's worth doing before your next purchase, not after a late payment surprises you. Providers vary in how far along they are with this reporting shift, and that gap matters. Treating every provider as if it still operates the old invisible way when some of them no longer do is exactly the kind of outdated assumption that turns a small mistake into a real credit score problem. So here's the honest summary. BNPL isn't automatically a scam, and it isn't automatically safe either. It's a tool that was deliberately designed to remove the moment of hesitation that used to protect people from overspending. And for nearly half of its users, that design is already working exactly as intended, just not in their favor. The fix isn't complicated. It's visibility. Write it down, track every active loan in one place, and ask the same honest question you'd ask before any other form of debt, because that's genuinely what this is, no matter how many easy, friendly installments it gets split into. Before you close this video, do one specific thing right now. Open your phone, check every app that could possibly have an active BNPL balance sitting on it, and write down the total in one place. Not later, not this weekend, right now, while this is still fresh. That single 5-minute habit is the entire difference between BNPL staying a genuinely useful tool in your life and quietly becoming the phantom debt problem we just spent this whole video breaking down. If this changed how you'll think about that 4 easy payments button next time you're at checkout, let me know in the comments. I want to know if you found more active BNPL loans than you expected. Hit that like button if this was useful, subscribe if you want more honest, no-hype breakdowns like this one, and share this with someone you know who's currently juggling more than one of these apps without realizing it. This is Mike, signing off.